Hey YouTube, JP Dillon. Today we're going to look at a General Electric Performance. I forget what model number exactly this is. We'll look at it in a moment. It uses the YF chassis. It was made, I think, around 1976. This set has an interesting history, and it's a very high hour set. It was used at the Hotel del Coronado here in San Diego for many years, and it was part of a whole lot that were sold to the public way back when, at least according to its owner. And you can see here that it's been branded so that if someone were to run off with it, it would be obvious where it was from. And just taking a look at the back here, let's see, it's the model CYA7342WD. And I think down here there's your YA-F chassis. Now, these were not the finest offering from GE. From what I understand, the YF had a lot of problems. Bad solder joints, bad capacitors, high voltage failures, and this one has what I think is a weak CRT because it's very dim and it's very fuzzy. So we're going to have to stick the Beltron on it and see if we can kind of revive it a little bit. Obviously the knob here is either missing the fine tuning, but I don't think that's the original knob for the set anyways. I picked this up and I was kind of hopeful about it because it ran, but we'll see what kind of picture we can get out of it. Last time it was tested, we know that the VHF oscillator was utterly dead. It did not tune a station whatsoever, so we'll have to look at that, and just kind of a general overall evaluation of the set. So the next thing to do is let's get the back off and let's take a look inside and put a CRT tester on it and see where we're at. And just as an interesting note, this was last serviced, according to this, in August of 1984 for a problem with focus and to clean the tuner. Well, the tuner isn't working at all, and the focus is bad, so repeat offender. Just thought you might find that interesting. So here it is with the back off. And the interesting thing about this is this is one of the early inline guns. The reason why I know that is because of the electromagnetic convergence assembly on the back here. The very large, thick neck, and we've got three separate control grids and screen grids, rather than one control and screen grid and three separate cathodes. So this definitely places it in the mid-1970s. And these, hopefully this tube isn't too far trashed. We'll have to see. There's your pincushion transformer, and also works with your convergence, your flyback here, which doesn't show too bad a sign of age. Your tripler unit for your high voltage, your dynamic convergence, your static convergence controls here. And then down in here we have our video output and driver board for pushing the CRT. Here we've got our color board and video processor. And then here we've got our tuner and IF and regulated supplies up here. So we need to check all those. Usually these things are about 75 to 80 volts off ground. It is a line operated set. Fairly modular. For the most part these unplug, although they do have failures with the edge connectors we might need to look at. Usually if that's the case, the backside soldering is kind of crummy. And it appears that someone's kind of touched up the solder on that before, not very well. So we'll have to look at that too. I see that one back there. It doesn't look great. Somebody resoldered them at some point. They just didn't do a very good job. But ultimately, there's not much point in pursuing this unless we know that the CRT can wake itself up. Let's see. Controls for horizontal centering. There's your screen controls. Your drive controls, strangely, are on this board, which you would normally expect them to be on the video drive board, but they're not. And then we've got this, which I think is a B voltage adjustment, or maybe an auto shutdown adjustment, I don't remember. There's your brightness range, your color killer. It's kind of weird to see that on a late 70s set. And you've got your vertical hold, vertical size. Oh, so this is actually, that's your sweep board there for the vertical. I thought that was power supply. Your AGC, IF, and RF. And I'm still looking for a focus control, but I don't see one yet. So it may be that if the focus control isn't present, that this might actually be your horizontal driver transformer then, if this is the centering control. If we can't find a focus control, I'm not sure how we're going to adjust that, but we'll see. This might be the focus control here, since that big thick wire goes back to the tripler. So that's probably what that's for. Anyways, enough talk. Let's get the CRT tester on it. Now, because these are different pinouts than most of the standard CRTs, I may have to use the universal adapter on this, because I only have two. Well, other than the Fat Roundy and the Zenith style, I only have two other color adapters for this set, so we may have to use a universal. But really, let's try each one and see what we're at. So we'll use the BR2 and the number 10 and see what the results are. Okay, here's the BR2. Bring the heater voltage up and see what happens. And it looks like the green and blue are starting to register, but the red is reversed biased. Alright, so that isn't going to work. Okay, here's the 10. Let's try it with the 10 and see what we get. There we go. According to that, the CRT is okay. Let's see if we do the sweep and clean here. Oh, the blue one was dirty. Wakey, wakey. Green wakes up. Blue wakes up. Red doesn't want to wake up. Yet it registers. That's kind of weird. And let's do our live test here. Let's turn it down at first to 5 volts. And see what our cutoff looks like at 5 volts. Still looking okay. So if we go to 6 and then we do a live test. Eight seconds, it starts to fall off. Green's the last to go. Funny how the red reads. I don't get any action from the red gun during the cleaning process. So wow. Definitely needs to be cleaned up. There we go. Now the red's alive. Green and blue's alive. Everybody's happy. And red's coming back up because we just got the gun hot. Alright. Let's see what it looks like powered up. Alright, before we power it up, I wanted to show you some cool things that, because this is a hotel TV, and may play of significance in troubleshooting this. On these sets, they have two things. Number one, you can see on the back of the tuner, they have these little stoppers here. And what they do is they activate this switch which then feeds the tuner power. And if you're allowed to watch that channel, the stopper will be there. If you're not allowed to watch the channel, the stopper's missing. So you could delete channels and force the customer only to watch certain channels. Also, you can see in parallel here with the volume control, it's this guy. This is your volume limiter. This is so that you couldn't piss off your neighbors in the adjacent room. There's also a couple of service controls on the back, which are accessible also through a removable panel on the back cover, so that the serviceman could just get to all the necessary stuff by removing these screws, and everything was right there. So kind of cool. But anyway, let's see if it produces a picture now that we've checked and cleaned the guns on the CRT. Very blurry. Things are starting to equalize though. We do get UHF. No volume though. Let's see if that fancy little volume control on the back is to blame. Nope, still no sound at all. Might have a bad speaker, we'll have to check that in a moment. The machine acts like it should be tuning, but it's not. We do have UHF though. This is just a big, bright, blurry mess. And this does not read correctly, that's for sure. That blurry snow bothers me. Let's see if tweaking this focus control does anything to it. Only makes it marginally better. Cranked all the way up, it's still inadequate. So very likely this needs a tripler, because there's not enough focus voltage to push the CRT. I'm still kind of curious about the tuner though, so maybe we'll spritz some contact cleaner in it and try again. Alright, so we've got the tuner cleaned, and I've got a nice fat signal hooked up, so let's see what happens now. Come on, channel 4 there. Wakey wakey. Ah, we had something there. Hang on. Wow, that tuner is really bad. It like does not want to work. Like that green FLIR looking raster. Alright, more tuner clean. So here's the inside of the tuner, and it's just a wafer type. And you can see they've got all the tuned circuits there. And you've got little trimmer adjustments there, which are activated by these gears that when you push on this, engage and tune the fine tuning inside of there. So the main point of concern is that the contacts inside of these wafers get cruddy, and sometimes you can clean them up, and sometimes the material's just so far gone that it's just not going to do anything. So we're going to spritz some heavy duty deox in here and then clean the piss out of it and rotate it a bunch. And you can see the tuner rotate, the selector rotate. I don't know if you can see the contacts rotating inside of there, but that's what's happening. So we'll just go back and forth a bunch of times. Hope the contact cleaner does its job. this exciting? No, I hate this part of the job steps. Alright, let's button this thing up and now let's try it. Alright, so tuner cleaned up, let's try again. Yeah, let's see what it looks like now. Ah, look, we've got a picture now. That's good. Still blurry as hell though. That tripler really is gone. Their vertical's pretty touchy too. The tube's got plenty of brightness. It doesn't bleed off to the side. That's good. But it's just unwatchable. One of this thing has a service switch on it. We can at least do the gun setups. You hear the tripler hissing in there. Almost like there's a crack in the body or something. I don't see a service switch on this. So I think what we do is we just turn the brightness down all the way and then look for the retrace and back it off a bit. So let's turn contrast down, colors off, brightness all the way down, and then we'll do some setup adjustments. Let me grab some tools. Okay, I think on this one what I'll do is I'll put the brightness control at about midpoint, and then we'll adjust so that we just start to get a raster on the screen, or at least the darks just start showing. So here's my green screen control. Let's back off a little on that one. And let's see here. We'll do the red next. Red's all the way up, but it ain't doing much. Oh, you can just smell the Corona. Alright. I don't know if you guys can see that, probably can't. And let's turn up our blue. Whoa! That was a trip. What happened there? Blue gun's got a short maybe? Interesting. That's looking a little more black and white now. Red's cranked up all the way and we're not seeing much. So let's start with red since it's the weakest gun. And do I even have a screen control here? I don't think so. Let's do a brightness range check. Alright, so let's start with red. And we'll do blue to make purple. And then we'll do green, which is apparently the strongest gun in the set right now. We got pretty close to black and white there. Alright, so there's our black and white picture. Still horribly defocused. Let's see what our color looks like. Ew. And tint range, anybody? Oh. Color pots are dirty. Yeah, let's clean them up a little bit. Ugh. Clean the tint one with that down. So this is the symptom of a bad tripler, is that this horrible hissing and corona you hear, and then the complete and utter lack of focus. Alright, so now let's look at color. There we go, it's starting to look like real flesh tones there. Let's work that tint control a little more. It's pretty dirty. And let's turn the intensity down. Alright, well, it's a start. But you can see with the focus being bad, it's unwatchable. It's just a big scary blur. So we need to get a tripler for this guy. And then the blue gun kind of freaked out. But that could have just been from the cleaning and some loose junk. We can tap on the neck of the CRT and see if that changes anything. Alright, so I'm going to tap on the neck and see if we get any blue flashes again. No, I think we're good. But you can hear the corona getting worse the longer it's on. Hissy, hissy. And you can just smell the ozone. It's awful. That's really pungent. So that tripler block needs to go down there. I need to find out what I can use. Look up the service literature. Right now we're just looking at a bunch of gobbledygook here. Let's change that. Yeah, see, it's just blurry. But it's running at least. Let's check the speaker real quick. Alright, so I've got a little desktop speaker here, and I'm just going to clip this across the speaker leads and see if we get sound. Nope, still no sound. Makes me wonder if there's some sort of gizmochi that goes into the speaker in the room or something. Now you've got your, down here, you've got your driver transformer for your speaker. So it could be that the output transistor for the sound is dead, or the transformer's dead. I don't really know at this point. But I'm not really concerned about the speaker as much as I am the crummy picture. So really the next thing to do on this is look for a tripler, and then once we get the tripler reinstalled, we'll see if we can dial in our picture, because the color and grayscale looks okay. It just is out of focus, and the focus control only works marginally. So that'll be the next installment, is when we get a tripler out for this thing. But for now, thanks for watching the video. More stuff to come soon.